The true shukr for a gift is that not only a person says Alhamdulillah with their tongue, but feel that tashakkur within their heart and actually show qadr for the gift Allah Ta'ala gives. And ways of showing this qadr is to be in a state of continuous adab. Now, how does a person show adab towards Ramadan al-Mubarak, towards the Sawm? Is to really make sure that a person rights. Right? I can say that I love my parents, but if I do not fulfill their rights, if I do not respect them, honor them, then those are just words. It means that love has no meaning to it. Their claim has no meaning to it. So it's important, inshallah ta'ala, that you and I, we are constantly evaluating and re-evaluating the honoring of the time. And we know this, this is something that we know as Muslims. For example, how will your behavior change? Let's say you were in Haram right now. Just because of that place, everything about us would change. We would realize the importance of the space that we occupy, and then we would behave differently. So just like we show respect to different spaces, the way that we act within our bedrooms, we will not act in a masjid. So because the state of adab overwhelms us, and we understand that we have to show it, we have to honor it, even to our local musalla and masjid. Exactly like that, certain times also demand adab. And this is one of those times. So it means that the way that we, in our normal times, we try to change that. And because we know that Ramadan is a time to disconnect, it's as in contemporary times they call it spiritual retreat, that we retreat ourselves from our day to day. This is exactly what happens. Look at our nights. This is not how we are supposed to be, in our normal days, spending our nights. Most of us would be fast asleep, others would be doing some other things. But look at how things change during Ramadan. And this actually alludes to that, this 1 month, this month of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have to learn how to disconnect. Now, a lot of times, people may not be able to, let's say, get time off from their work, from their studies, from whatever, right? But whatever time you're able to get off, inshallah ta'ala, we have to get into that mode. Disconnecting for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It means that on a spiritual level, we are disconnected from the dunya. Even if we are in the dunya, because, let's say a person has to work, but the heart is in a state where it is disconnected from it. It's extremely important that a person, because as we know from the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that it's not the last 10 days of i'tikaf that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam performed. He did perform i'tikaf of 20 days and 30 days, meaning he performed i'tikaf in a state of disconnect, in a state of solitude, in a state of seclusion, in a state of, that ruju' ilallah for the whole of month. So it sort of shows the spirit, right, the essence, the jawhar of Ramadan is that we're able to do that. So it's important, inshallah ta'ala, कि आप लोग जहाँ पर भी, wherever you are, and sometimes just the longing for it can be enough. Sometimes circumstances are that we cannot physically disconnect, but then the longing in the heart, Ya Allah, I wish I was able to do that. Lutf manzil na sahi, khahish manzil hi sahi. It's very beautiful. Ye bhi kya kam hai ki teri muhabbat mein jiye. Lutf manzil na sahi, khahish manzil hi sahi. Right? The fact that a person is able to just live in a state of longing, even if they are not able to taste the actual experience of, let's say, this, just having the longing, Allah Kareem. If it were up to me, Allah, that I just want to, find a way where I could just, فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ وَإِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ فَارْغَب, and I can just, do رَغْبَةِ إِلَى in a state where there's just you and me, there's nobody else, Ya Allah Kareem. So that's really what Ramadan is all about, that we're able to do that. I read in one of those books that there was a Majusi, there was a Zoroastrian, and he used to live in Muslim lands, probably Persia. And Ramadan time came, and because obviously they're not fasting, um, one of his sons was out and about, and he started eating during the daytime. And the person scolded him. He said that, don't you know that the Muslims, it's the time for the Ramadan, they're fasting, so you should honor this, and you should honor what they're doing, and you shouldn't eat in front of them. After a while, that person passed away, and one of the buzurgs, one of the mashayikh, he saw him in his dream, and he saw that he was in the Jannah, and he was, mashallah, enjoying the life in Jannah. And so he asked him, what happened? I thought you were Zoroastrian. What are you doing in Jannah? You're right that, I was Zoroastrian, but because that day I showed respect to fast and I honored the month of Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right on my deathbed, gave me the ability to read Kalimat Tayyibah, become a Muslim, and I was entered into Jannah. So it's not a little thing, right? So when you read something like this, it shows that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is looking for, that special attention that we're able to give. So Ramazan ke andar, and in fasting as well, we should try to show that. So our fast, that Imam Ghazali rahmatullah and others have also said, it shouldn't be just a physical fast. It shouldn't be that we just get up in suhoor, we just eat, drink, and then the rest of the day we're just spending the time that we usually spend our time. That is for awamun nas, and really we don't want to be average Muslims. We want to be Muslims who are extraordinary. We want to be Muslims who seek out Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's wilayah, right? We want to be A+ students. And for the khawas, it's not just the physical fast. They keep a watchful eye on their batin as well. They make sure that none of their organs are committing any sins, but they also make sure that they're not committing any batini sins as well, right? They make sure that they are vigilant of their spiritual diseases as well. And that is a personal exercise that everybody has. Some people are akhsul khawas, those akhsul khawas, they not only do the physical fast and then the spiritual fast, but their batin is very much in a state of wudda, it's this state of devoted love towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like they don't even want to, make sure that their tawajjuh ilallah, their uruj changes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to anybody else. And this abstract terminology we're talking about, we see that in the lives of our mashayikh. If you read the Art-Biti of the Shaykh al-Hadith rahmatullah and all the other awliya, I'm talking recent times, you will find that 30 days, everything about them would change. They would not answer any khutut, they would not spend time, they would not want to talk to anybody. If anybody would come, they would just say salam, dua, you spend your time, I have to spend, preparing myself for my akhirah. So those 30 days, they understood the value, understood how precious they were, but they also understood that, this is how you're supposed to show the adab and honor and respect for this time. So this is something that we learn from our akabirin. And so inshallah, to whatever extent we can. Right? It's going to be a journey, a process. To whatever extent we can, inshallah, try to at least achieve this spiritual, inshallah, disconnect in this month. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to experience it. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Just like we were talking last time, this gift, this first song, is never going to come back in our life. This was something that was given to us, and the only choice and will. The truth for a gift is that not only a person says Alhamdulillah with their tongue, but feel that tashakkur within their heart and actually show qadr for the gift Allah Ta'ala gives. And one of the ways of showing this qadr is to be in a state of continuous adab. Now, how does a person show adab towards Ramadan al-Mubarak, towards the Sawm? is to really make sure that a person is fulfilling all of its rights. Right? I can say that I love my parents, but if I do not fulfill their rights, if I do not respect them, honor them, then those are just words. It means that love has no meaning to it. Their claim has no meaning to it. So it's important, inshallah ta'ala, that you and I, we are constantly evaluating and reevaluating the honoring of the time. And we know this, I mean, this is something that we